Buying a house in a new state, well, there's a lot of nuances that you need to be aware of. There's a lot of things that you might have in your current state that Michigan does not, and vice versa.
We don't do that here.
We might have some things here in Michigan that you definitely need to be aware of when moving here. So we're covering all of that in this video. We got 5 tips for moving here to Michigan and buying a house here in Michigan. So if that's why you guys are here, then stick around because we're getting after it right now. Hey, what's going on, you guys? Eric Meldrum here, your Michigan real estate agent. I've lived in Michigan my whole entire life. I grew up in Metro Detroit, and I know a thing or two about it. So in this video, I'm using all of my years of experience living in Michigan, and well, of course, my experience selling hundreds of homes to people just like you, that I can boil down the 5 major things that you need to know before buying a house right here in Metro Detroit. So before we get into that, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. We love hanging out with you. I make videos just like this on all things Metro Detroit. We talk about real estate, lifestyle, we got vlog tours, property tours, and of course, videos just like this where I help answer some common questions you might have before moving. And of course, we want to be the best resource for you when doing so. So if you're moving in 1 month or 1 year from now, you got to get a hold of us. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. All my contact information is down below in the description. And of course, we'd be happy to help you do so. And if this information is helpful, then consider subscribing and tapping that little bell so you're the first to learn about the current market and all the new videos we drop weekly. All right, so when moving to a new state, there are so many things to consider. I mean, the possibilities are endless, guys. Like, you could ask 1,000 questions and want to know where the best locations are in Metro Detroit, want to know where the best school systems are, and then you can start getting into specifics like where's the best neighborhoods, where are the nicest houses, where are the most pet-friendly neighborhoods, where are the places where with sidewalks, where, like, the possibilities are endless. So here's the deal. In this video, these questions are all from people just like you. So I've taken a combination of all my conversations, all of my years of experience, and I really dug deep into the consultations that I've had with so many people moving out of state and hearing some of the different nuances that you might have in your state versus Michigan. And I've compiled this into a list to make sure we touch on some of the most important things that are just a little bit weird from a Michigan perspective. I wouldn't say they're weird at all because I live in Michigan and they're totally normal for me, but these things do catch people off guard. All right, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is start to assemble your real estate dream team.
Assemble.
No, this is not one of the 5 tips for buying a house here in Michigan, but this is so important. I can't stress this enough. When making a move to a new state, you need an advocate for your move. And that starts with me as your real estate agent. Now, of course, I don't expect everybody to work with me. You're here for the content. I totally get it. And hey, if we're not a good fit to work together, no worries. But start with your real estate agent and make sure you have somebody in your corner that can help answer a lot of these questions that you're gonna have, steer you on the right path. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is make sure you get your pre-approval and understand what we call your purchasing power. Purchasing power is so important because you could be looking in areas where the price points are way up here, and those are the type of houses that are most common in those areas. And you just say, hey, I like the schools there, I like, everything about it, but it might not be the most affordable place to live within your budget. So make sure you understand the purchasing power, and then we can start setting expectations. So that's the groundwork, guys. And of course, we love to work with you. So make sure you reach out. If you have questions, we'd be happy to help. All right, so the first thing you want to know about buying a home here in Michigan is that a majority of the homes, they all have basements. Now, might not be common where you're from, but basements here in Michigan, they're 99% of the homes all have basements. Now, there's 2 types of basements. There's a regular basement and there's a Michigan basement. You might be asking yourself, like, Eric, aren't we in Michigan? Like, aren't they all Michigan basements? Nope. A Michigan basement was actually something that they kind of coined when homes in the early 1900s were being built. A lot of those did not have basements at all. So when they started bringing heat and other things into homes, they needed somewhere to put all these mechanicals. So instead of shoving them in closets or rearranging the homes here in Michigan, they dug out, right? They dug underneath, they moved the home to the side, dug it, and then they moved the home back on top of it. So they put the mechanicals down there, water softeners, HVAC systems, ran all the ducting down there, and that was keeping things nice and warm for the winter, so all those things did not freeze. But overall, basements in Michigan, they can be awesome places to hang out. So if you want to put a foosball table down there, ping pong table, make it a game room, make it a bar, make it a movie theater, I've seen it all. There's some really cool tricked out basements here in Michigan. I remember growing up, our basement was finished. We played mini sticks down there, my cousins and I, and this was something really interesting back in the 50s. Like every basement floor was tiled with shuffleboard courts on them. I remember going down there and we used to play mini sticks, but we'd use the shuffleboard as like the goals. So we'd put the goal right around it. And it was just super weird when we were growing up. We didn't really realize like people played shuffleboard in their basement. That was like an old time thing to do. But we played mini sticks, we played bumper cars. I mean, we just like, that's where we went to get rowdy. It was in the basement. And that's what I see from a lot of like, we got our girls' toys in the basement, said, hey, you guys can have the whole entire basement, put your castles down there, put everything you want, all your toys, those go in the basement. Upstairs is for mom and dad. We don't need toys laid out all across the floor. So all the toys go in the basement, kids go down to the basement when friends and family come over, and that's that. We shut the door and boom, they're gone. All right, so the second thing you need to know about buying a home here in Michigan is you need adequate heat. Remember guys, we're in a state with harsh winters. There's gonna be some cold days. There's gonna be some days where you just feel like curling up on the couch, watching a movie or reading a book with a hot cup of coffee or tea and just being warm. And that's not going to happen if you don't have good heat. So here in Michigan, there's some homes that have what's called radiant heating or a boiler system, and then there's forced air. Now remember, a lot of the homes way back when, so if you get an older home, these could be super inefficient. So you're going to want to make sure that the heating system is at least updated, they have new windows, all the seals are still intact and everything's caulked around the windows. These are all things we'll point out as we go through homes if you're looking at older homes. But the heating system is a must-have here in Michigan. If you're living in a state where you don't use your heat, you're not too worried about it. I totally get it, but trust me, you're going to be worried about it here in Michigan. So pay special attention, make sure you know the age of it, because those could be also major expenses that come up when buying a house. If you have to replace HVAC system, it could be $10,000-$15,000 depending on what level of furnace you're going with and how big your house is. So just keep that in mind and make sure you have those costs in mind when buying here in Michigan. All right, so the third thing you need to know about buying a home here in Michigan is the location and the school system. Now, not every city is equal to a school system that you're going to be sent to. So this is the major point I want to make is when looking at locations and looking at school systems, if you're dead set on a certain school system, that may not always mean that the whole entire city is fed into that school. Here's an example. I had a listing last year where it was in Northville. So the mailing address was Northville. The township that it was in, and if you've heard me talk about townships, you know that the taxes are less, so big benefit there. But the township was Salem Township. The county it was in was Washtenaw, which is abnormal for Northville. That's usually all of Wayne County. And then you also had South Lyon schools. So Northville mailing address, Salem Township, Washtenaw County, South Lyon schools. So anybody looking in that location for that school district, they would have been fooled and said, well, I thought we were going to Northville when it's actually South Lyon. So just pay special attention if you are going to be looking for a certain school district. Make sure to let your agent know or let us know. We'll set you up on a search specific for that school system as opposed to just that city. All right, so the fourth thing you need to know about buying a home here in Michigan is a pool is actually a negative for buying a home. And let me tell you why. So if you're coming from a place where you're like, oh my gosh, we gotta have a pool. Pools are all over the place. I mean, it's luxury. It's a place for us to relax, chill, cool down. Totally get it, right? We sell in Tampa Bay. There's pools everywhere. We actually have searches set up for homes and we exclude ones without pools because so many people want pools. But here in Michigan, it's like the complete opposite. And here's why. Pools can get super expensive. So having a pool in a state like Florida, yeah, you got maintenance year round, you clean it, but you're never winterizing it and de-winterizing it. Here in Michigan, we got that winter coming. So you're gonna have to close the pool down, winterize it, tarp it, make sure you drain some of the water out. And then when spring comes, then you're gonna do the opposite. You're gonna open the pool, dump all those chemicals in, have somebody come out and do it. And that can cost a lot of money. And there's things that can break, there's things that can freeze if you don't winterize it properly. So having a pool can cost you a lot of money here in Michigan. And it doesn't really increase the value of your home. It actually decreases the value of your home because really nobody wants a pool. The only people that want pools are the people that want pools, and that's not a lot of us here in Michigan. All right, so the last thing you need to know, and the fifth thing on our list about buying a home here in Michigan, is you must, and I'm gonna repeat this again, you must buy a house with a garage. That's a non-negotiable. You're moving to Michigan, there's winter, it's cold, there's gonna be ice on your car. You do not want to be stuck out there in the winter, scraping it off, scraping the windshield, and cursing up a storm saying, oh my gosh, I wish I would have just listened to Eric from the beginning. This is absolutely miserable. Now, I've had clients come to me and say, well, garage isn't that important. We live in a state where our garage is actually converted into our living space, so we just park in the driveway. Well, guys, again, we have winter here, so you don't want to be scraping your car off. Garages are a must-have, so you can store stuff in it, put your car in it, just pop that garage door open, start your remote, start on your car, and you're out the door 5-10 minutes. Super easy to get going. But if your car is out in the cold and not in the garage, it's gonna take like 15 to 20 minutes to warm up. Nobody's got time for that. Everyone's in a rush nowadays. So 15, 20 minutes over 5, I'm gonna take the 5 and I'm gonna go with the garage. So the other thing that's super common here is pole barns. So you can have a nice garage, a nice pole barn. They could both be heated. One could have a great little spot for a little man cave, a little hangout for the guys. But you can do a lot of cool things with garages here in Michigan, but it's a non-negotiable. They're must-haves. Add them to your list. You'll thank me later. All right, so there you have it. Some tips on buying a home here in Michigan. Now, again, these are common questions from all of you guys. These are things that I've documented over my conversations with people relocating to Michigan, going through transactions, and just paying special attention to some things that surprised you or some things that you weren't aware of when buying a house here in Michigan. And these are some common ones. So hopefully you'll thank me for buying a home here in Michigan with this knowledge. Again, the basements, those are cool places to hang out. A garage, a must-have, and no, pools are not a value add on your home. So if this information was helpful for you guys, make sure you subscribe, tap that little bell so you're notified every time we come out with a new video, which is weekly. And hey, share this with somebody that you think could use this information, and comment below what some of your favorite things are that I went over in this video. And hey, if I missed anything, make sure you comment that below. So until next time, guys, go out and have an awesome day, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.